the strongest muscle is your mind. We had an awesome week this week, and I thought it would be appropriate to talk about the mental side of trading and the things that impact us in trading as day traders and just in life in general to help you guys with some things. I get messages here and there from traders that may be struggling with different aspects of life when it comes to managing day trading and all the different nuances or different doors of day trading. So I thought it'd be best to help you out. Now, of course, this is a continuous education. This is a continuous conversation. You're not going to fix anything overnight and in one setting, but it can be a log in your fire to help you go to the next level. The topic is the strongest muscle is your mind. A discussion for mental health and well-being for day traders. Anyone can apply what we're going to talk about, but we're specifically talking about day traders, and anyone can use this. Well, I guess the best place to start is really to ask you, have you ever heard this phrase before? Where your eye is focused, your heart will follow. Have you ever heard that? Where your eye is focused, your heart will follow. A man once told me this, and it basically means that what you focus on the most, it's what's going to drive you, it's what's going to push you. Now, when a trader first starts out, a new trader, for example, they're in a rush for success. Has that ever happened to you? When you heard about this stock market and this currency market or these financial markets, you were in a rush to make money. Has that ever happened? Tell the truth. Come on. You know it has. And then you go off charting every day, learning, staying up late, getting up early. Yes, that's happened to me. Reading all the books, asking others for books. Books. I want them all, right? You buy them all. You don't even get through them all, but you start to read them. And then nowadays, people, what do? They go to YouTube University and they watch video after video after video. Then they jump in several different communities, Twitter channels and Facebook communities and 10 different Discords. Has that ever happened to you? And they're so focused. They're so just driven to be successful. But after a while, they hit a brick wall mentally. They start to get tired and fatigued. They don't get up as early. They don't trade all day or trade as much as they used to. Life kind of gets in the way, and then they begin to reason to themselves, well, this isn't really the same. Something's different. My life isn't any better. I'm not any better. My skills haven't gotten any better. And some may even say it's gotten worse. Why does that happen? Why do traders go through these mental ebbs and flows and ups and downs? Well, it's because day trading is emotional. The life of a day trader and the things that we do pulls at your emotions every day. So it would be good to ask a few questions as we get into our discussion so you can kind of really do some self-evaluation as we go through this discussion here and really understand and use it to improve yourself, to get better. So here's a question. What is most important to you? Has anybody ever asked you that question, perhaps prior to getting into day trading? What is most important to you? Is it making money? Is it your family? Is it being rich? Is it being famous? Is it paying bills? Is it taking care of your family? Is it being on Instagram, on social media, in a fancy car? Is it accomplishing your goals? What is it? The reason why this is the number one question you need to be asking yourself, period, from a mental standpoint, is because the answer to this question will determine what type of trader and person you are. What is the most important thing to you? It's a tough question, but really, it takes some thought. Some people are hyper-focused on money. Is that you? Every day you trade, especially for the new trader, you are looking to make money. Every day, I got to make money, money. and you make some money. Let's say you make $500, $1,000 that day. You want more. I want more, 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 more. Has that ever happened? Is that you? Is that you? You're hyper focused on making money. Every day you think about money. If you want to find out what kind of person you are, did you know I could tell a lot about you by just looking at your social media suggestions? Did you know that? You don't have to tell me who you are at all. I could say, can I borrow your phone? And I can go into your Instagram and I could just look at your suggestions and I could tell you everything about you. It's a good place to start if you want to know if you're hyper focused about money. Some people are hyper focused about tomorrow. Is that you? You ever met somebody that just always has a list of things to do? As soon as they lay their head down, they're like, okay, I got to do this tomorrow. I got to do this tomorrow. And that list is never complete. They always have something to do. They're always focused on tomorrow. Pay no attention to today. They don't celebrate the wins of the day. Nothing. They're just hyper focused about tomorrow, what tomorrow will bring. Has that ever happened to you? Is that you? How are your relationships with others? You know, success won't fix the past. It won't fix stupid, and it doesn't fix people. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can't make people deal with you better. You can't improve relationships. Nope. It's not how it works. Those things transcend. They move beyond the money. Well, speaking about money, how do you feel about money? Are you in a rush to make it? Do you feel like money is a savior for you? It's going to save me from my problems. Unfortunately, money really can just simply magnify the mental and emotional problems that people may have. Now, you don't believe me? You can do any Google research, read any book on the subject, and people will tell you, especially successful and wealthy people, they'll tell you, hey man, for a while there, they went through some stresses. And we see it all the time with celebrities and artists, people really not happy because they thought that they would get some kind of joy from the money when the money is just a byproduct of who you already are. So let's face it. As day traders, and if you're running a business, this applies to you and really anyone, but specifically as day traders, we have to deal with the mental stresses of day trading and the emotions, the emotional swings, the ups, the downs, the expectations, the lows, and that voice in your head telling you, you can't do this, giving you negative thoughts, or that voice, super positive, unrealistic expectations, and draining you. I should be better. I should be better. I don't know why I'm not better. And this all causes unnecessary stress. So how do you improve? And what should you be doing every day, week, month, and year to make sure that you've worked the strongest muscle of your mind, that you have solid mental health and well-being as it pertains to the market? Well, I'm going to give you some physical tips and I'm going to give you some mental tips. All right? So that you can navigate these waters of day trading as it pertains to your life and the financial markets. So the first tip I'm going to give you is a physical tip. Number one, set defined boundaries. Set defined boundaries. Everyone wants to be somewhere at some point, and somebody somewhere is calling you to be there or do something. But if you set defined boundaries, you will eliminate the stress that comes with people reaching out to you or the uncertainty of where you need to be at what time. So you have clearly defined boundaries for work, clearly defined boundaries for trading, clearly defined boundaries for relaxing, clearly defined boundaries for family, others, taking breaks, all of that. It should be clearly defined. You know, one thing that I do when I take a walk, when I take a break, I take a walk and I leave my phone right here on my desk. It's a clearly defined boundary. I do not want someone to reach me when I'm in my mental space. That's just one tip. Whatever yours is, you're going to have to learn that you've got to have a boundary there. And I'm going to tell you another secret. If anybody anywhere can get a hold of you at any time, you probably need to get something going in your life. You probably need to get some things going in your life. Set some boundaries. Number two, manage expectations. A lot of people lie to themselves and they don't really know themselves. Now, I'm going to give you a secret. Now, I've trained thousands of people, all right? And many of you trade with me live, some in tier 3, others in the general channel. All right. You can clearly see that this guy has a specific set of skills and he's successful in the market. Even if you don't stick around in my Discord, the proof is in the pudding. You know, the reason I have been able to be better is because I do not lie to myself. I am truthful with myself, and you need to do the same. What does it mean? Well, you need to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. You need to understand what the opportunities and threats are. So do a SWOT assessment of yourself, not just of your market behavior, but of yourself. Who are you as a person? Where are your strengths in life? What's your skill strength? What's your mental strength? Know yourself. It's the same thing as if you were to go to a job and you'd interview. I don't know who you are. I don't even know how you look. What's the first thing I see? It's your resume. And your resume should be presented in a way where it tells me everything about you as it pertains to this job. Well, you should do the same with yourself when it comes to your life, when it comes to money, financial markets. Know yourself. Don't lie to yourself. If you know you're greedy, you have to address it. Don't dance around it. If you have a gambling problem, if you are super fearful all the time, don't dance around it. Attack it. State it. Openly, outward, and then generate a plan to address it. I help traders develop SWOT and trade identities. The trade identity is not a SWOT assessment. The SWOT assessment and trade identity works in harmony together. But the trade identity is really who you are as a trader. The SWOT I'm talking about is who you are just as a person. What's the purpose of doing these two things? It's so that you can clearly define what you are capable of. Here's some hard truth. Everybody is capable of something different than the other. You may not get to the level that you want to get to. Now, we like to say, every person in here, we'd like to say, yeah, everybody can be successful in the market. And that is a true statement. You can be. But at what level do you want to be? For some people, $500 a month is great. And that is a successful trader. Let's be clear. If someone can consistently pull any amount of green out the market and without being in the red, every month they're black, trust me. Every month their numbers are in the black. Trust me, that's a successful trader. I don't care if it's $500, $1,000. But you have to understand and manage your expectations so that you can understand what you're capable of. The next tip is be reasonable and kind with yourself. We did a Mindset Monday some time ago, and it's one of our most popular discussions. It was with myself and LSG, and it was entitled Giving Yourself a Little Grace, right? And really just kind of being reasonable with your expectations. Now remember this, unreasonable expectations causes undue anxiety. How you feel about the market and what you want to do in life, especially with young people. I mean, have you ever met a young person, and this is like everyone, including myself when I was younger, boy, we have these huge dreams, right? You ask your little daughter, what do you want to be when you grow up? She says, what? I want to be a princess. You say to yourself, oh Lord, she's going to have a lot of problems, right? And that's cute. That's fine for a child. But as you get older and you're an adult, we have to be realistic. Now, it's funny because you laughed at that when it was a child. But what if I asked a 40-year-old man, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he says, I want to be a princess. You'd probably say, well, okay, you got it. And you'd walk away. Why? Because you can sense that something's wrong there. The expectations aren't proper. So when you set expectations, You should set expectations based on what you're capable of. If you don't know anything, why do you have high expectations? All your expectations, all your markers for success should be centered around specific and small incremental goals. Trade execution, charting, learning your chart, learning how to read the market, TA, FA, all these things. It should not have anything to do with money. Money is the byproduct of properly executed trades. I've said it a million times. I will continue to say it from the rooftops. Money is the byproduct of a series of successfully executed trades. The next tip is to quiet your mind and prevent overthinking. Don't overthink the market, folks. Don't overthink life either. All right? We've got this vision in our mind that if we're not in these chat rooms or in communities debating and arguing with people, if we're not in the know, the market's going to dump, the market's going to go up. If we don't have all this data and we're not always talking stocks, then we're not successful. Look, you guys know this about me. I couldn't care less about what somebody thinks about what I know in the market. I couldn't care less. And quite frankly, I don't know everything. I know a great deal, but as it pertains to day trading, I have a specific set of skills that I rely on, and it makes me very profitable and go to the bank. Now, whatever you do, that's up to you, how you govern, how you structure things. But regardless, you need to quiet your mind. Don't overthink this thing. And the same goes for life. The reason why we kind of intertwine these in this conversation, because we're talking about mental health and well-being. And sometimes your brain could be going and going and going. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. And going and going and going and going. And you're overthinking. And it prevents you from, number one, accomplishing goals, celebrating wins, setting minor goals, moving forward. So many things because you are so focused and overthinking when you should be just doing, developing the disciplines, the patterns you need to trade in your disciplines and your abilities. So what will help you? I did a video some time ago. It's called Practice Mindfulness. Now, it helps you in day trading, but we could use the same ideology, the same methodology in life. Stay in the moment. When you are on a task, practice mindfulness. Stay in the moment. Focus, discipline yourself to execute the things that are necessary for the moment. If that means putting your phone on mute, if that means turning off the emails, if that means locking the doors, if that means having a conversation with your wife, with your husband, with your kids, hey, all right, I don't want you to karate chop the door down when I'm in here now. You got to give me my time. Whatever it is, practice mindfulness. Stay in the moment. The next physical step is to connect with people other than yourself. Stay connected. Now, you don't have to be in the Wealth Wells day trading community, but you do need to be in a positive community. I've said this many times. Professional day traders share information. Now, they're not necessarily sharing it with the firm down the street, but in their local firm, oh yeah, they're sharing data. Those guys also hang out together. They party together. They do all this stuff together. Why? Because they need to stay mentally focused and grounded. And what helps is connections with people. When you sever those connections in any way, you sever your support and you break a mental tie to something that was supporting you. So now let's go to the mental tips. What are the mental things that you can do to help yourself to navigate through these waters of the life of a day trader? Well, this first thing you could do is just analyze your worries and concerns. If you're the kind of person who stresses about things and you're overly concerned and anxious and you're a nervous trader, just a nervous person, ask yourself questions about the worries that you have. What are they? Why do I have them? Who are they about? Where did I get them? And how do I address them? And when can I eliminate them? Start just analyzing these worries and asking yourself reasonable questions like, why? Why do I even feel this way? Why am I in a rush to make money? Why do I feel like I got to take 1 million trades a day? Why can't I just listen to KD for 1 or 2 trades and not trade, but get the information or get the skill set and use it tomorrow? Or why do I always have to be plugged into 50 communities, right? Now, this may seem odd coming from a guy who has a day trading community. You would think, oh man, he wants people plugged in. I make my money in the market. You guys know that. So what I'm going to give you is what I have actually experienced. And whether it means you stick around in my community or not, I just want you to be well. Have I given you that impression thus far? I'm sure those who've been in my Discord for this amount of time, you've gotten the impression of two things. This guy's disciplined and this guy cares. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, I can't fix everything, but what I can do is give you the real deal. So ask yourself some questions about your worries and analyze them. The next mental tip is take each day, one day at a time. Take each day, one day at a time. What causes people anxiety and stress and brings on all, even health problems, is that they try to take 5 days at a time. Okay, I've got to do this and that, and then Friday, and we're going here and Thursday. Like, my gosh, aren't you exhausted? Each day has its own anxieties. Each day has a set of things that you can only accomplish. I don't care how long that list is. You can only get a few things done. So here's the tip. I have them to my left. You can't see them, but you can hear them. I have a stack of goal cards here. And these goal cards I have used for years. I could pull a goal card out from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and every single day I pull a new goal card out. The goal card is just a simple yellow, pink, or blue, or pastel flashcard. That's all it is. It's a 3x5. And on the top of the card, I simply write down one thing that I want to accomplish every day. That's it. I put the date there, and at the end of the day, I put a check mark or an X. Did I accomplish this thing? Now, after some time, you can get better and you can start to write down 3 things that you can accomplish. You can go from 1 to 2. After some time, months or years, you move from 2 to 3. Now, I'm at the point I write 3 things down. That's it. I never go beyond 3 things that I need to accomplish in that day. You do that enough, and you will have accomplished some major goals. It helps me to stay focused and take each day one day at a time. Here's the next mental tip. Face the facts. You need to just flat out face the facts. Realize that there are some things in life you cannot change and that you will have to live with it. Now, this is a tough one for some people because we're talking about financial markets, we're talking about business, we're talking about life, we're talking about all these things that make money, real estate. And people want to change. They do. They want a better life. They want to do something that is meaningful, that gets them the income that they want. And I get it. But some things just won't change, folks. And it's not going to change overnight. And some things you're going to have to live with. Now, in another Mindset Mondays, we're going to talk about how to get your family on your team when you day trade, or day trading with an unsupportive spouse or unsupportive family, or with a poor environment. We're going to talk about that. But here's the rub. No matter what we discuss, there may be some things you cannot change. You may just have to live with them and adjust. So if you face the facts, this will help you set realistic expectations and prevent you from setting unrealistic expectations. All right. Sometimes people set these expectations that's so high, they're destined to fail even before they get started. The next mental tip I'm going to give you relates to focus. Now, we made a quote earlier. Do you remember it? Where your eye is focused, your heart will follow. So the tip here is to focus on the big picture to keep things in proper perspective. Now, to do that, you got to know who you are. But at the end of the day, what's the big picture? Well, in the market, you want to be profitable. Yes. You want to do something you enjoy. Yes. For me, it's about trading in a comfortable environment, doing something I love to do, right? Trading with other cool folks. It really has nothing to do with the money. I know that sounds weird, but it really has nothing to do with the money. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's just think deeply about this. Most of the people who day trade or who start to day trade, they have a full-time job. So if it were a matter about the money, why wouldn't you quit your job? Because you know you're not good enough. And you also know that there are pressures and stresses that come with day trading that you have not learned to manage yet, and you may never manage. And that's okay. As long as you have your job and a balance, you're good to go. You may make an extra 5, 10, 50,000, I don't know. But the reality is you have to focus on the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is doing something you enjoy, doing it with people that you enjoy doing it with, so that you can continue to live the life financially that you want to live. That's the bigger picture. When you get there, how glamorous it is, that's up to you. Don't miss out on all the benefits of the journey, focusing on the destination only. Progress, not perfection, folks. The last tip I'm going to give you for mental side of things, for the mental side, is to talk to someone. Don't keep things in. Talk to someone about stresses, anxieties, or whatever the case is as it pertains to day trading and or life. That person should be wiser and experienced. Don't go talking to Day Day down the street, right? If Day Day don't have 2 pennies to rub together. And don't go talking to your buddy who's also 18 years old when you need some wise advice. Seek out the advice of wise counselors and you'll go a long way. Now, the key to all of this is balance. You're trying to make sure that you stay balanced. Most of the time when people have stresses from day trading or all kinds of things going on and they just can't find the right stretch of success, it's because their life, their mind is not balanced. The key to all of this is making sure you're balanced. Now, I'll prove it to you. For those of you guys who are inside the Killer Wells, let me ask you, do you or do you not see that I have the exact same schedule every day? Every day, same schedule. 8:50, you know where I'm going to be. 9 o'clock, you know the jams is going to get turned down a little bit. After that, we're going to take a look around the market and we're going to do the exact same things. Then I'm going to grab my tea, right? You know it. You know it. And for those who've been in the Discord, you know that's been this guy's pattern for well over a year. That's what he does. Why? Because those things, routine and disciplines, keep me balanced. You need to have mental and physical balance in your life in order for you to day trade properly. Day trading is probably the only job that you can go in where your mind has to go with you. It has to stay at the job. Has this ever happened to you? You go into work and you're like, I don't want to work today. I'm just going to disappear. And you don't do anything that day, right? You disappear somewhere in the office somewhere and some of you sleep on the job and yet the employer still paid you. Tell the truth. That's happened to you. Day trading doesn't work like that. That's why it's so complicated, because it requires your attention all the time. So I'm going to leave you with something someone told me many years ago in my 20s that absolutely defined my business mind. And you've heard this statement before, but I live this statement. It's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail. It's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail. The same wind blows on everyone, folks. The winds of disappointment, disaster, discouragement, depression, financial loss, letdowns, setbacks, and breakups. The same wind blows on everyone. It's how you set your mind to move through the waters of life and the market. This determines whether or not you'll get to your destination. I'll tell you a quick story. Nearly 25 years ago, I remember I was a young man and I had just gotten married and didn't have a lot of money at all. Didn't have enough money. Was trying to transition out of one career into the other, just trying to figure it out, living in the city. And at the time I had a paper route. All right. And I think that paper route was paying me like $1,000 a week or something like that. It was not enough, but it was just enough to get by. Right. And it was hard work, Very rough. Had to get up super early. The ink bothered my health and my stomach, and just it was terrible. But every day I'd get up, 3 a.m., wrapping papers, trying to figure it out. What's my next move in life? After some time, I really needed the money. I really needed the money. I think the rent was due. All kind of things was just on top of me as a young man trying to make it with a young wife. And I was fired from the route. Something happened. I didn't finish the route. I did something wrong. And oh man, I was fired. Thinking to myself, man, I got no money, nothing in savings. I got nothing coming in. What am I going to do? Rent's due. I'm going to be on the street. You know, that same day as I pulled into my apartment complex, I got into a car accident right on the main road. And the car was totaled in such a way that it was irreparable. It was so bad I had to ask the police to drive me home because I didn't have anyone to call at the moment that could come and get me. I was just so discouraged. This is terrible. I'm like, man, when it rains, it pours. Sometime later, in about a month or so later, I remember my best friend. He died from suicide. Oh, it was a hard thing to get over. And then sometime after that, I got a divorce. I'm talking, it was the worst time of my life. Absolutely terrible. One thing after another, pressure after pressure after pressure. Felt like at times, maybe this is just life. Maybe I'm supposed to struggle like this. Maybe this is just the way things are. Has that ever happened to you? I had two choices at that point. All right, my life is over. This is it. I don't really understand why this is all happening, but maybe I'm just supposed to struggle. Maybe this is what it's supposed to be like. Or the second choice, I could face the facts. I cannot change the past. But what I can do is be honest with myself. I can be truthful. I can ask myself about these worries and challenges that I have. I could take one day at a time. I could form new disciplines for the future. That's what I could do. I could focus on the bigger picture. Where am I trying to go? I'm rebuilding now. And I could get some solid advice from people who are wiser than me. Well, if someone had told me back then that 25, 30 years later, I'd be a millionaire day trading with a real estate portfolio, wonderful friends, incredible experiences in life, traveled the world and still do, and an absolute angel for a wife, I'm telling you, I would have believed them. I would have said, you know what? I knew it would happen. Why? Because even when I was in my darkest moment, I still understood that it's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail. It's how you navigate through these murky waters of the life of a day trader that will get you to where you need to be. If you have had a moment or a series or a stretch where it's challenging, the same wind blows on everybody. Pain is pain. To measure it is cruelty. We're not trying to measure it. We don't know what each individual goes through, but I can tell you, if you continue to move forward and use the tips that we are talking about, you're going to look up one day. You're going to look to your left, and you're going to have a nice cold drink in your hand, and you're going to be sitting on an island with KD and the Wealth Wells. This is our little discussion. The strongest muscle is your mind. A discussion for mental health and well-being. I want everybody to have an awesome weekend and be successful, not just in the market, but in your relationships, in your life, and in your mind. KD, signing out.